welcome to the RazorwireReviews Bat-a-thon Returns Part 2. We'll be talking about Disc 2 of Season 1 of Batman 66, the Complete Television Series on Blu-ray. And without any further ado, let's get right into it. I've got my episode guide here, the trusty Bat episode guide. Where are we? Disc 2. Okay, so episode 13 and episode 14, The 13th Hat and Batman Stands Pat. This is a Mad Hatter episode. Mad Hatter is played by David Wayne. In this double plot to uncowl Batman and kidnap the jury that convicted him, Mad Hatter doffs his super instant mesmerizer. And just as Batman smells a hat rat, a statue-shattering skirmish ensues, leaving Batman plastered up. So yeah, Batman and Robin go head-to-head with the Mad Hatter, who has this big top hat and these kind of spring comes out the top of it and mesmerizes people and kind of mind control kind of device. I really like David Wayne as Mad Hatter. He was cool, he was fun, he was campy. He wasn't really trying to be like a Joker or a Riddler. And yeah, I thought he was pretty cool. And again, all the villains, I don't know if I've mentioned this so far, when you see them in their hideouts, the camera is slightly tilted, and so it's like off kilter. It's crooked because they're crooked. It's simple, but it works. It's a cool little kind of visual cue. And yeah, basically he was convicted by a jury and he's stealing all the hats of all the people who are on the jury, and Batman was on the jury, so he wants to steal his cowl, and so he impersonates this artist who's sculpting a statue of Batman, and he ends up thwarting Batman and kind of encasing him in plaster, and that's the cliffhanger. And then they got to fight back, and yeah, it's Batman versus Hatter's maniacal machines. Once he's freed from plaster to crack this case, the Hat Factory showdown, Batman is cleverly captured, and it's Robin who must prevail. Yeah, Robin gets a bit of a moment in this one as well. Yeah, overall enjoyable episodes. I like them. And then we have episode 15 and 16, another Joker episode, another Joker story. The Joker goes to school. He meets his match, the Grizzly Ghoul. Cesar Romero comes back as the Joker. It says the Joker returns with a pernicious plot aimed at luring high schoolers into easy living. Rigged vending and slot machines ensnare the pursuing Batman and Robin, who are now wired to receive 50,000 volts. Yeah, there was this whole thing with them getting electric shocks at the cliffhanger of the episode. I didn't really buy the main kind of ploy the Joker had in this story, where he put money, like silver dollars, into the vending machines in high school so that the kids would think that they don't have to work and get educations to get money, and so it would ruin the youth and the future of Gotham. It is a bit of a weak one, for me, considering there were some really good stories so far in the series. But it was still enjoyable. Cesar Romero just, again, hamming it up as the Joker and is having a great time, and I do love his performance, and it very much suits the style of the show, I think. There's a great bit where Robin is trying to figure out, because there's a high schooler who's obviously helping the Joker out to put all the dollars into the vending machines, and he thinks it's this girl who hangs out in this candy store, and so he goes into the candy store, Dick, and he's got a leather jacket on, and he's like, hey, and he's like trying to act like a tough guy, and then he gets offered a smoke, and so he takes a cigarette and, and he's coughing, and then when he leaves, they realize that they didn't buy his little trick. And Batman was like, I knew they didn't buy it, Robin. They could just tell that you weren't a smoker or something like that. That was kind of a funny little bit. And yeah, and then the second episode, a massive power failure allows Batman and Robin the chance to foil the Joker and his bad pennies, and it's a close call with more rigged devices and poison perfume in the mix. That's something I'll say. Almost every villain has a device where they just click something and a little puff of coloured smoke comes out, and the person just falls asleep instantly. I mean, every villain has that go-to gag. It's like, how can we make the villain get rid of these people? I know, just perfumed gas or whatever. It's always like an instant go-to-sleep puff of smoke that's readily available to all the villains, which is kind of funny and a bit of an easy way out for the writers, I guess. It was a good couple of episodes. I enjoyed them. Always good to see the Joker, but not one of the stronger Joker stories so far. Number 17 and 18, we have True or False Face and Holy Rat Race. We have Malachi Throne playing False Face, although he's not credited in the episodes. He's just credited as a question mark because he wanted his name taken off it, because the female guest star was billed higher than him, and you don't see his face ever as False Face, which is really interesting. He always has this kind of weird, creepy plastic mask over his face, and he kind of masquerades as other people. He's the devil in disguise, and treachery appears to triumph as Falseface steals the Mergenberg crown and sets the trap. Batman and Robin find themselves in a sticky situation, facing a speeding train. And then they get back on track to foil Falseface, who intends to swap counterfeit bills for the real thing. A series of phony fronts and false disguises has our heroes in hot pursuit. I love how the second episode ends with a chase through an old kind of Western movie set, and it's referenced that it's a movie set. But there's some cool stuff in this. I really enjoyed the Falseface character. I don't believe he was seen before or after this episode. It was a complete, I think, fabrication of the show. It wasn't a comic book character. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, it was his one and only appearance, at least in the show. But I really enjoyed it, and you get to see like other characters being taken over. You know, the Falseface becomes them and stuff, and so you see other actors play, like Commissioner Gordon playing as Falseface kind of thing, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed these episodes. Then we have the first appearance of Catwoman in episodes 19 and 20. We have The Perfect Crime and Better Luck Next Time. We have, of course, Julie Newmar as Catwoman. There are 3 actresses who portrayed Catwoman in the Batman 66 series and movie. And Julie Newmar is seen as kind of like the gold standard. I do really like her. Again, she's very attractive. She fits the Catwoman role very well. Her performance at times is a little bit over the top, to the point where it's almost a little bit cringeworthy. Like, it dances across that line for me, but most of the time she's very good, and I did enjoy her performance. Her cronies look ridiculous in like leopard skin outfits and like weird kind of Mickey Mouse hats. It's quite strange. The felonious feline Catwoman gets her claws on twin golden cat statuettes from Gotham Museum, but our heroes fearlessly pursue their culprit right into a cat trap facing a ferocious tiger, which is the cliffhanger. I love, yeah, she steals these 2 golden cats, and it leads to a map to some treasure, so kind of like a proper old school kind of, you know, not adventure story, but like, you know, a map to treasure. It's like one of those kind of like just classic stories, and it worked quite well. I like where they went with it. And there's a great bit in the first episode where they're trying to get into her hideout, and Batman's like, wait, let's not use the door, it might be booby trapped, so let's use the bat laser. So the bat laser shoots the door and it explodes, and it was rigged to kind of trap them. And Robin's like, gee, Batman, you were right, that could have killed us. And Batman says, or worse. Let's go. You know, it could have killed us or worse. I just proper cracked me up, that line. And then the dynamic duo is nearly devoured in a pit of tigers as they race to capture Catwoman with her real target, the Captain Manx treasure trove. So yeah, I enjoy these episodes. They're pretty good. And then we have 21 and 22. The Penguin goes straight, and not yet he ain't. Of course, we have Burgess Meredith returning as Penguin, and I almost enjoyed him even more this time around. I mean, he's just so, I mean, the way he grits his teeth as he's got the chomping on the long cigarette holder, and the way he waddles and the noise. I mean, he just throws himself completely into this role. I read that you know, they always had a Penguin script ready for whenever Burgess Meredith was in Los Angeles to just film another one, because they loved him so much, and it's not hard to see why. And yeah, so the title says it all, The Penguin Goes Straight. It's about him trying to kind of convince the public that he's given up a life of crime, and he's got a protection agency, and it sounds like a foul-feathered plot aimed at putting our dynamic duo on the ropes. Holy bullseye! And then Bat Boot Souls and the Bat Claw Knife Blade come in very handy as Batman and Robin set out to restore their good name by acting insane. Well, the chase is on and this bad bird is going down. So yeah, Penguin's kind of distorting the public's view of Batman and Robin, obviously, and trying to make himself out to be the hero. And he steals the Batmobile. And up to this point, you know, people have always tried to steal the Batmobile, but like alarms go off or they're stopped by something. But this time, Penguin gets away with the Batmobile, turns it into the Birdmobile. And I love when they're like, come on, let's bag the Batmobile, boss. And he's like, sensational idea, come on. Like, Burgess Meredith is just brilliant as a Penguin. Full stop. And then there's a chase at the end. You see the Bat bike with Robin in the little sidecar, and they got the Bat shields, and the large lucite map of Gotham. I mean, again, the Bat cave, and you just see so many things that are like, you know, Bat this, Bat that, the Bat computer, the Bat analyzer. And yeah, I just love it. I love everything about the show, the production design. It's just awesome. And yeah, these were another 2 really strong episodes with Penguin. And then rounding off this too, we have 23 and 24, The Ring of Wax and Give 'em the Axe. We have Frank Gorshin returning as the Riddler. Riddler is back, vexing authorities to get at the lost treasure of the Incas. In pursuit, our dynamic duo is duped, doped, and left dangling over boiling wax for a fatal double dip. Before they are waxed, Batman and Robin blast free, and news of their demise is too soon. Riddler's robbery must be derailed at the museum, and his crummy crew captured amid medieval torture machines. So the episode opens up with a kind of a wax museum show, and the Riddler's there like frozen, and then he starts shooting people and stuff. Not with bullets, I think he's shooting them with, I forget now, but it's kind of like, it's more of a joke than anything. It doesn't murder anyone. But yeah, there's like a waxwork of the Riddler, and there's going to be like waxworks of Batman and Robin, but he steals them and he boils them down to get this rare substance called universal solvent, which he can use as like very like highly concentrated explosives to get this book called the Lost Treasure of the Incas, because he wants to get it. And then it ends in this museum with all these ancient torture devices and stuff, which makes for some fun little set pieces in the final fight and showdown. So yeah, I really like these. Again, Frank Gorshin I think is brilliant as the Riddler, probably my favourite villain so far, and he's just brings so much energy to the screen and to the role. You know, you just totally buy that he's absolutely batshit crazy, basically. No pun intended with the batshit, but yeah, I think. Anything else I can say? Well, you know, to kind of like round off these videos and talk about a certain character. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention that I really liked was in the first episode of Disc 2, which was the Mad Hatter episode, which is the 13th Hat. To kind of like figure out what Mad Hatter's doing, Alfred goes out for the first time in the series, I think, to find out where this bowler hat is. He goes to a bowling alley, he's kind of like covert, you know, trying to speak to a guy and just get to see his hat and stuff, and then he goes upstairs and he sneaks into an office and takes it, and it's really cool to see Alfred go out and be part of the team, so to speak, and that comes into play later on in the series, I think. But I love Alan Napier, who plays Alfred. I think he's fantastic. You see him on the season 1 digipack here. He's just fantastic. I love the kind of the old school Britishness he brings to the role, but also just like the sense of fun sometimes, like especially with that when he goes out to find out about the bowler hat and stuff, and he seems like, oh yeah, you know, I'd love to go out and, you know, do this for Bruce, and he seems very game and up for it. And I don't think it might be my favourite Alfred. I mean, I've always loved Michael Gough and all the Burton and Schumacher Batman films, and he was the Alfred I grew up with. You know, Michael Caine's great, but I think the other one is more of a Batman, more of an Alfred for me. But Alan Napier, he might be the definitive on-screen live action Batman Alfred for me. Sorry. Yeah, I just really like him in this series, and yeah, that's pretty much it really. So I'll leave it with that. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for part 3, which will be my review of Disc 3, which is the final disc in Season 1 of Batman 66, the Complete Television Series. So stay tuned for part 3 next week, next Monday, same bat time, same bat channel.